Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jimberly Jones here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
How are you doing, everyone? Episode Power Hour 63. I'm Shag here. I'm getting fatter, and it is still quarantine, baby.
My hair's getting a little crazy. Have to start actually combing it a bit more on the sides, starting to fluff out, but we all make sacrifices, Jim.
Oh, I'm a puffy son of a bitch right now with my hair.
I want you to just let it go all the way out, and then we can try and style it for you, Jim.
Oh, well, in that case, I guess we have to. Let's make that a Patreon tier.
Yeah. Well, I think once all this shit calms down, hear me out. I think me and you put cornrows in our hair and we do a full episode like that.
All right, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do some appropriating. We can't look worse than Brian Alvarez.
Jim, don't worry. I have a 23andMe that verifies I can do it.
I think all the 23andMe say you can do it.
Shut up.
Shut up. Just let it happen.
Shut up, Mimsy. All right. So what you got going tonight for drinking, Jim?
Tonight, I am drinking a beer from the craft beer box that my wife had gotten me. And it comes from the Hardywood Brewery. And it is their Vipa IPA, the Virginia, as it says on here, Pale Ale. Comes in at 5.2% alcohol by volume, 30 IBUs. And let me just get my little handy-dandy flyer right here.
It sounds like it's laminated.
No, it is not laminated, but it is a little beer covered right now because I spilled right as we started. Because this decided to explode on me. Yeah, it is a little bit of a sloppy bitch, isn't it? But, let's see. Hardywood Park, out of Richmond, Virginia. Designed to embody Virginia hospitality, this IPA features appealing tropical aromatics.
Yeah, reading's hard.
Yeah, it is. For some reason, I was like, topical aromatics. Well, because that's a thing. They complement a refreshing soft body along with a lively, juicy finish. Heirloom Virginia barley rounds out the malt bill and provides an excellent balance, highlighted by a dose of citrusy Virginia hops. The Vipa stands for their take on the Virginia India Pale Ale, or as we like to call it, Virginia Pale Ale. We hope you enjoy. I will. Don't worry, boys. I will.
As much as I was happy your wife finally got you some good beers, I hate that it's provided this.
Is it both the best and worst thing that's ever happened to you, Brian?
It's definitely not the best in any form. It's just you finally are becoming a little bit less of a plebe and can drink real stuff, and you ruin it. So, yeah.
Virginia.
You son of... Yeah, thank you, Jim. Virginia. All right, so I'm going with the Great Barn Brewery Dunkelschon. Now, this was actually one of the beers during the beer battles that I did, and I've talked enough about it from Twitter, on our Instagram, and for those of you who don't know, every Friday or Saturday, I do a beer battle. I basically pick two beers. I try and do about the same style or close enough, and just throughout the night, I live tweet my reactions while I drink them, compare them, and deem one a winner. It's something I was thinking about for a while and decided to go with. But anyway, this is actually made in Kittnersville, PA, and it is a peanut butter and chocolate ale that tastes like a scrumptious, creamy chocolate ice cream and peanut butter swirl. Bam. Don't know why they had to write bam at the end of that. But yeah, no, as I said in my review of it, it's really good. The peanut butter seems to be a little fake tasting, but it's still damn delicious. And it's 6.2%, so it's not super strong.
Oh, Brian, speaking of super strong, possibly not breaking news, but something I saw for the first time today. Guess who else is
your penis?
Brian, I haven't seen that in years. Come on now. But Brian,
I made it funny.
I made funny. Guess who threw their hat into the seltzer business, Brian?
Is it Keystone, Jim?
No.
Is it? Let me think. Hold on. Well, you only drink that.
All right, Brian. I'll give you two guesses. One will be for what it is, and one will be for the alcohol content.
Well, you just said who got into the seltzer business. So I assume you mean like a beer company, right?
A booze company.
Booze. Jack Daniels?
No, one more guess.
Oh, it's you saying it. It's going to piss me off. Oh, God damn it. Is it McGregor?
Nope. Four Loco. And I can't wait to try it.
They're
Cannot
still
wait.
trying to hang on. Yep. After they had to get rid of that original batch, it was like, what's the point of drinking it anymore? I want it dangerous. I want it to kill me. I don't care about this second-rate shit. And I didn't even know they still made drinks, man.
They're still around, but yeah, a shell of their former self. I just want to try a 12% seltzer.
This is like them basically being Sega and just like selling off their name to just try and jump on bandwagons of bigger things.
This is their 32X.
That's like all it is. Yeah, it's like we're losing shit left and right. Seltzer, let's do that. And we all know seltzer is going to go by the wayside. It's only going to be around. Just like, what was that shit for a while? The like instant margaritas or...
Oh, the puckers?
You know what No, not puckers. They were like Corona Ritas and other shit like that. They were like... It was during that time of like Bud Light Lime and
when they all had
those...
their own. Yeah. Bud Light Lime's still
Yeah.
around. That was the ace.
But remember, like, how many other breweries like that, like bigger ones especially, just chipped in with their citrus-flavored beer for that, like, summer or two. And some of them may still be around, but that fad's pretty much died.
Yeah, I think I had one real sloppy night off Corona Ritas. It was up the mountains.
That makes sense, Jim. But yeah, so...
Man of taste.
We will try it together, I'm sure. 'Cause
Yay!
I'm sure you'll buy it, a whole case of it, because you would. And I'll be disappointed. And we'll do a drunken game to it that I'll beat you at, and all will be well with the world.
Oh, I can only hope it keeps with the tradition of Four Loko and tastes like dog shit. So we will. Ooh, pardon me. Ooh, that came out of nowhere. We will see about that.
That was from the depths of hell. What was that gurgle in the back of that throat?
It was just a burp. It was a burp that I tried to stop, and then it became music. Brian, you're welcome.
Just move on to what you're playing, Jim. If you're playing anything.
Outside of stuff, I've just been, what do you call it? I was busting to work on those couple reviews I put out there, so I haven't been playing much outside of that. But Streets of Rage 4 comes out Friday, and I am super excited for that.
So is that, or are they doing digital on all consoles?
I think so, yeah.
Please tell me you're not going to just get it on the Switch and waste your money.
What, Streets of Rage 4? Digital?
Yeah.
Why would that be a waste?
Because that's the weakest of the console choices.
It's not pushing any of these consoles, Brian.
Doesn't matter. Do you want better or do you want worse?
Or do I want convenient?
Just say you want worse and we can move on.
Or do I want convenient? What if it's good
not
enough
really
that I
that
have to buy it on
convenient.
everything, Brian? What if it's so great I got to buy it twice?
That I would respect more than just getting it on the Switch. Because I know you're going to be that weirdo that also definitely tries or has already pre-ordered a hard copy, for sure.
Merp.
And I know it's another game that I'll just be better than you at. And
Incorrect. Incorrect.
Jim, do we have to put the link below to our playthrough of Streets of Rage 2 and who did better?
You took my guy, Bri. You took my guy.
A real good player could play with anyone and do better.
Took my guy. I kept trying to give you all the help to stay alive. I made it easy on you, Bri. I made it easy on you.
Well, either way, that is a game that I'll probably get. What is it digitally going to cost?
I think like $20.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pick it up.
Bri, should we both
Have
do
you
Xbox
heard
and
any
then
like
stream?
early reviews for it?
From what I'm hearing, it's like a perfect beat 'em up. It's like a perfect throwback. Plays perfectly. Like everyone is just raving about it right now. So I really can't wait to get my hands on it.
As we've seen too often, I feel like people who have gotten a chance to already play it and review it, is it just the nostalgia of missing the Streets of Rage feel and probably has great music and they're like, oh, it's perfect. Like, I still would be shocked if it's better than Streets of Rage 2.
I'd be shocked too, but
Maybe it is, though. I mean, granted, they can easily do the control scheme of Streets of Rage 2. Now they've introduced more characters. The music is the thing that, even if they try and re-emulate the feel, and didn't they get the same guys who wrote Streets of Rage 2 music?
Yuzo came back, Yuzo Koshiro. I don't know if he did all the music, but he did some of it. So he's in there somehow.
It's so weird, because that's the thing. They took such a nosedive with music, and I know you disagree a little bit, but in Streets of Rage 3, that quality just went like
it's not as good. It's more experimental.
And 1 to 2, you saw that progression. Like 1 has some great tracks, and then 2 is like, okay, I see what we did here. Now we're gonna make it better. And then 3 was like, I don't know. And
Brian, maybe there's a top 10 list that you should put a card on top of the video feed for this that people can click on so they can see for themselves. Maybe
we can do that. We can definitely do that. You son of a bitch. But yeah, I'm definitely excited. Maybe we will stream it together, do a little Twitch thing, or YouTube, whatever. But yeah, I'll definitely get it too.
Yay!
You playing anything else?
Not really. It's just been a lot of stuff I was working on.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I finally beat goddamn Fallout New Vegas, and dear God, I think my total time was like 90 hours in the game.
Jesus.
And I just ran through that end. Like, I wasn't taking my time. I literally was only using the Fat Man and miniguns.
You're just
and,
nuking everything?
Oh, dude, I was just like, oh, look, there's like an ant. I'm going to nuke it. Like, I just was ridiculous. And on hardcore mode, it actually took me longer because I kept injuring myself and running out of doctor's bags. So I think I settled on like one of the highest level missile launchers. And at the end, I actually went for myself, like taking the place of Mr. House, because I killed him. I killed Kaisar. I was cool with the NCR until the very end when I was like, nah, this whole robot army in New Vegas is going to be mine. And I just went into Kaisar's camp and literally with a rocket launcher, like 50 rockets, just blew up everything. It was ridiculous. Obviously, there's no such thing as a bad Fallout game. I still definitely think 4 is better. 3 is a better story, but New Vegas plays better. And currently, I'm actually going through the beautiful hills of West Virginia in Fallout 76. And I gotta say, I'm almost at level 20. And full disclosure, I said this last time, this is after the Wastelanders pack has been released, so there's a whole lot more like human NPCs in the game. I don't see the whole complaints that everyone had when it first came out. The world definitely doesn't feel quite as filled, but the way the timeline works, it kind of makes sense. Like, you're one of the first vaults to open up, so there's not going to be as much like bustling towns and whatnot. And I kind of like that feeling. Jim, I think you would really like this game because similar to New Vegas and that whole everything has a weight, which in this one it does. When I say resources are scarce, like, you'd be lucky to keep a stash of like 15 bobby pins or shit like that.
Jesus.
And you have to keep eating and drinking. Now, it doesn't hurt your health, but it affects you in other ways. So, like, I'm constantly monitoring that. And I am literally scavenging everything I find, coming back, scrapping it. So, it's a really fun game. I've only, like, dipped my toe into the world because the world is bigger than any Fallout world, like, by far. So, I'm absolutely loving it, and yeah, that's going to be a big time dump. That and the new Streets of Rage will be the two I focus on, aside from any games I've been recording for reviews coming up.
Cool. Very nice.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, what do you call it?
Right.
I think I would have fun with it. Like, my buddy Jerry, he's put like 400 hours into 76 before Wasteland, so... it's probably just a game that's like, if you like Bethesda games, you probably like it.
It would be perfect for you because it's a good pickup. Like, you have quests, but you're not dumping entire hours to 2 hours into a quest. So it really is a pickup. Like, if you just want to go to an area, do a few things, and then put it away, it's fine. and there's no rush to finish the story. Because like you can just keep playing. And someone like you who likes the idea of like micromanaging, scavenging, and all those things, I think you'd really appreciate it. And yeah, it looks great. There's just not a lot of complaints I have about the game so far.
Cool. All right.
So
yeah, maybe one day down the line I'll give it a go. I still got to play Fallout 4.
yeah, which is the best Fallout, and yeah, you ain't getting to that. All right, stop that.
I was waiting for that. All right, moving on. Patreon. Patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question that we will answer on this Power Hour podcast. So, got a few Patreon questions this week. First one comes to us from our buddy G to the next level. Who would you say is the lamest gaming mascot ever? Does it have to be an animal character either? Cheers.
Lamest gaming mascot. So, I guess he's kind of going like per generation or system.
Maybe just in general, like whatever. I mean, there's always been mascots for all these different systems, so.
I would probably, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, because I don't know that many gaming mascots. But I would say like Bubsy.
Bubsy can be considered one, yeah.
Yeah, just don't have the name Bubsy. Don't be a fucking squirrel or whatever he is. To me, that's just lame, and he's probably also pushed under the rug a little bit because he was competing against juggernauts. So my quick and easy answer, Bubsy.
Yeah, I mean, there's billions of them you can go through, like Bubsy, Impossible, or good ones like Crash Bandicoot or Bonk or all the other fucking ones. So, because I am famously for hating the United Kingdom, I'm going to have to say Horus. Because, one, what the hell is that goddamn thing? It's just a purple blob of bullshit. And two, it's on the spectrum, which automatically means it sucks. So, there you go.
Jim, don't make fun of things on the spectrum.
Dean, I'm sorry. But, I mean, another one I would say would be Keith Courage on the Turbo, because putting that as your packing game was a disastrous idea. Turbo it had enough problems as it is, but packing Keith Courage with it, ooh, mama.
I'm also going to say Bonk.
You know what? I never liked the Bond games. Like, I've tried to get into them, but I just can't. Like, they're okay.
He's like a baby caveman. Like, what? Another one. You kind of looks like Charlie Brown. Like, what are you doing?
He's cute.
Like,
he's a cute character. He's a decent mascot, but the games I'm just kind of meh on.
Well, yeah, I know because you're part of NAMBLA. You would think that, but I'm just saying.
Jesus.
No. That episode was just on the other day.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you could make that connection right away. Then, thank you.
Now everyone's going to be like, "What's that?"
Oh, if you don't know already, woo boy.
And why is Jim a part of it?
Brian, I'm not a map. God damn it.
Good question, G. I wish. Yeah, I mean, when I think of gaming mascots, I think you can just apply too many bigger titles. Because, like, think of, like, PlayStation. When I think of everyone in PlayStation, that All-Star Battle Royale game, I guess technically you can use anyone from that game.
They're all basically mascots, yeah.
Yeah, and Nintendo obviously has a shit ton, but I only consider a few the real mascots in Nintendo. So, yeah. Bubsy and Bonk. Those are mine.
Brian, you're not going with Arrow the Acrobat?
I don't even know who that is, Jim.
Really?
No.
It's a meh game. Another one of those 1001s from the 16-bit era.
Which is why I don't know it, because I don't do meh.
Good soundtrack. All right, next up.
Oh, that means it's terrible, but God.
Damn it. Next up from Game Whisperer Dean. What is your opinion on the Atari Casino? God damn it, I should have looked this up.
Well, Jim, I'll let you take this, because between you and I, you'd be the only one who even knows what that is.
All right, let's see here. So, the Atari Casino. Atari Casino is coming soon. Play online with cryptocurrency, including the Atari token. So, the casino space presents a massive opportunity to leverage the portfolio of our Atari properties through a range of social and real money casino opportunities. Oh, this sounds great. Our catalog of games includes games of luck, games of skill, and hybrid games combining luck and skill. We operate either directly or through licensing partnership dealerships. So, I think it's just... Is this a thing they're just throwing on the goddamn Atari? Is this just like... Are they doing their own virtual casino? Is Atari that desperate?
That's what it sounds like.
It sounds like they're just doing a virtual casino.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like.
With real money.
Which, you know what? I'll play devil's advocate. Atari's not coming out with any new titles.
But Brian, the BTF.
Exactly. They're not coming out with any new titles. And they don't have they just don't have... Like, they're never going to get back to what they were. Virtual gambling with gaming. That's an interesting concept. I think it's a bad look.
Yeah, you think?
Because we see how microtransactions have turned out, especially for a lot of kids. And, man, you get people... Like, there's enough people... Jim and I, we're already hooked on gaming. But if you get someone who's a friggin' gambler and hooked on gaming, whew... That's like, Jim, if they had the opportunity for you to potentially win money by doing a pinball game, but you put $1 in, or like you pay $1 to play, like, you would waste so much money. Like, I don't know what they're going to do.
Is it a waste with the memories I make during?
Can make memories with all the other games you've never played in your room, Jim.
With Brian, pinball.
Exactly. Yeah, that's...
So this might be the only thing that makes people buy the the VCS console, because there's no other reason to buy the goddamn thing. It's a overpriced emulator box, blah 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 blah, and so they're throwing a casino on there. I thought they had like a real hotel casino that they were opening too. Let me look at this shit.
But here's the deal: if you want to be successful, they can't just have it on that console. They're gonna have to have it as a feature on the console, but ultimately you got to do it mobilely, just like when Jersey started opening up sports betting, like on your phone, on like FanDuel and all that shit. Like, that is where you need it to go. You need it to be on a phone. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a weird one. I hadn't heard about it, so good poll, but unfortunately, Jim and I are not the ones to know about this.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first I looked it up. Yeah, online Atari branded casino gambling. We have hit a new low.
Well, we'll hit other lows as we go on this podcast, Jim.
I do it daily.
Damn it.
All right, next up from Burn Retinas, our newest patron. If the Intellivision Amico happens, is it something you would legitimately be interested in beyond a niche novelty product?
I would, because that's a system that actually interests me, but the price point really has to make sense, and it can't be crazy. No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I'll pull a Jim. Like, I'll pull what you do, which is I'll wait for that.
Really?
Did you just spill again?
Really?
I think Jim just spilled on himself again.
Why are all these beers exploding on me?
Oh, right before we started the podcast, Jim had a little explosion, and it just happened again. I can't wait to watch this video.
Jesus.
But yeah, that system, like Jim says about a lot of games and systems and yada, 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 I'll wait for it to be
it's foaming
dirt
like it's
cheap.
Frozen. It's not frozen. It was just sitting in my goddamn one drawer. Fucking
Jim, maybe you just need to let it go. Get it? Because you said frozen?
Yes, I did.
But, all right, relax, Spilly Pants. Calm your tits and clean it up.
I'm going. I'm cleaning.
All right, so Jim is currently trying to clean up, but he is back, and
I got it. It went down my leg and it went in my moccasins. I'm sitting here trying to podcast my jams.
Wait. No. Shut the fuck up. Jim, why do you have moccasins?
Because they're comfortable.
So are fucking socks. Like, why do you need moccasins?
Why am I going to waste socks, Brian?
What? What do you mean waste socks? What do you have, 5 pairs of socks?
No, I have
we know you still have the ones from college.
No, I actually threw most of those away finally.
Did you keep the little egg radio?
I threw that out during college because it broke 15 minutes after I used it. We know this story. We've already gone over this.
All right, anyway, what I was saying, and I've already said it, but I'm repeating myself, is what is the current price of that?
I think it's supposed to be $300 since
Fuck.
if you didn't
that.
do the pre-order, which was going to be like $250 or something like that. This is off the top of my head. I look it up.
So
I'm
what
covered
is
in
it
beer.
offering? What is it? Do you know what it's going to be offering? Like, is it just the entire catalog? Like, what is it doing that is saying that it's worth that price?
I think it has. Let me look it up. I think it has games that are going to come built in, but the main gimmick of it is that it's the affordable, family console alternative. And like, have you seen any of the the things at all yet? Like any of the trailers or releases for it?
No, nothing.
All right, so far they've
I think I misheard you. I thought you said Amiga.
no, the Amico,
then yeah.
AMIICO.
Let me take back everything I said.
Oh, jeez.
Between Jim's voice and I just wasn't listening very well before he freaked out. I thought he said Amiga television. Like I thought he was saying like a remake of an Amiga system.
Oh,
So Amico, you're saying it's like a family-friendly console?
yeah. It comes with 2 wireless controllers and 6 fun-filled games.
Yeah, no, that's not worth it at all. And I don't even as a novelty. Here's the deal. If you want family-friendly, just get Nintendo. Like any Nintendo system. And there's literally games just built for kids. I don't see why a system would be created that's meant for family fun. Like, that's basically what the Wii was. Just to get your grandmom to play. Get, like, whatever. And you can get a Wii now for, like, I don't know, $2 in a hand job. It doesn't cost much to get these old systems.
The price of the Wii has gone up during quarantine. People are going out there and snatching them up. And the games for it, the ones that are worth getting at least.
Which there's like 5. But the point is, this system holds no appeal to me unless you tell me something really revolutionary, Jim.
Well, there's the problem there, Brian, because, yeah, I mean, this would be more for a guy like me, and I have no interest in it. Well, okay, I have a little bit of interest, but $300, fuck yourself. In no way is this thing worth $300 at all. And it's already been revealed that a couple of the games they showed that are either coming with it or like launch games are basically like ports of like mobile games from 5 years ago. So it's already, and like some of the remastered, like, you know, it's got like remastered versions of like Asteroids and Moon Patrol and Astro Blast and stuff on there. You know, fine, cute. It's going to be budget. Like, I don't think any game's supposed to be over $30. It's going to have the new Earthworm Jim as an exclusive. But like, also these games are meant that you can play with like a phone as a third controller. So it's already screaming like Ouya 2 to me. Like, I don't see who this is marketed for.
Yeah, and the balls to come out and try and bring a new console like this. And yeah, I think I do remember now seeing that Earthworm Jim was going to be exclusive on a system. I didn't realize this was a system. But here's the deal. Earthworm Jim, it wasn't grotesque, but is that really family friendly? Like, that's a weird title. I don't think Mortal Kombat, but I don't think family friendly either. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I would never get this.
Apparently, it's supposed to be like $250, something around there. Which, whoa.
Listen, if it ever gets cheap, or if somebody out there who listens and likes us would like to send us one, we would gladly play every game available that we can get our hands on. How about that?
There we go. Apparently, the big gimmick with it, at least from its like launch announcement back in like late 2018, is that every game will be exclusive to the platform, which it already isn't with some of the games they've shown, and will cost less than $8, which I bet that goes out the window soon enough.
Well, also, there's just... If this was the 80s, I'll even give it 90s. That's appealing. But we now have 40 years of... almost 50 years, kind of games and generations that, once again, you can go out, you can emulate, you can have Pi. Like, you literally thousands of games you can, one way or another, get free, play at home. So the price point being that low, unless it's a AAA title, I don't see who that appeals to. I really don't. Doesn't make sense. And if you can have internet and you can have a phone, your phone can play hundreds of games for free, thousands of games for free,
including
and
the games on the Amiga.
Exactly. So, no, not worth it. Won't do it. And all my interest is going out the window for it.
I do regret not picking up a Ouya when it was like $20 in Target a couple years back. So, if I come across this 3 years from now and it's $20 in Target, then I'll get it. But besides that,
don't.
Oh, I will.
No, because then you'll be like, guys, it actually was really charming.
No, this is the missed opportunity for the gaming market to experience something different.
Jim, and all your reviews of all the games would be like, the music gets the job done.
Beep, boop, bop, beep, beep. I do say that a little too much.
That's
my key phrase.
If there's one phrase I can get rid of for you is, it gets the job done.
Man, if only you could put in Blacklist in real life.
I hate you, Jim.
Not as much as I hate myself, Brian. Next up, from Nerdy Nick 91. What 3 games would you take to a remote island where you'll be for at least 3 months? Switching that up a little bit, too, on us.
Wait, I thought we just did some.
We just did one where we're stuck somewhere for a year, and we had to take 5 games. So this is 3 months.
3 months. I'll switch my answers up. I won't go with any of the answers I gave last time. I'm going to go with WWE 2K13 or 14. I can't remember which one. I have both. But I want to go through and really do the full career mode, build out all my characters I want, which is wrestlers from the 80s to basically early 2000s. I will also go with... I'll do Rock Band. And I want to get really good at all the instruments because I've only sparingly played those games. And they're really fun, but I just never put time into them. And finally, I'm just looking at my games here. Let's go with the XCOM 2, which was just sent to us. And, yeah, I want to beat that game, and I know it's really fun. And 3 months is just about enough time to do all those games and do what I want.
Do what I want. All right. Good choices. Good choices. All right. I'll go,
No, let's hear the bad ones.
God damn it. First,
Jim.
All right, so
it's called banter.
Oh, it's banter, all right. So first off, you know what? It's been a long time since I played Silent Hill 2, and I think there's like 15 different endings to it, depending on how well you do in the game or what things you do in the game. So I'll take Silent Hill 2 for a game I know I like, but it's very replayable. I'll take Hagane on the Super NES because it's hard as balls, so that can be like the hard game that I try to like get good at and get good enough to beat. And fuck. What else am I gonna pick? What am I gonna pick? All right, you know what? I'll go with Shining Force 2 on the Genesis too. I'll take an RPG that everyone says I should play. I played it for a couple hours, but you know, RPG, fun battle system, so that'll be the RPG that I knock off the list.
So this just gave me an interesting idea. And how long do you think, like some of those really notorious hard games, think Dark Souls, Silver Surfer on the NES, like all the games that we've known and heard are super hard.
Right.
If you just had, quote unquote, unlimited time, how long do you think it would actually take? Because you've seen speedrunners beat some of these games like crazy fast.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when I'm talking about like NES games. How truly long do you think that would take you if you could dedicate full time to playing it? Like, is it just a full like 40-hour work week style? Is it multiple and I know that's completely different for each game, but my thinking is remember when I beat like Castlevania and I purposely saved the boss for you to try to beat?
Yeah.
And I mean, you spent how many tries do you think you did? I don't even think you were able to do it.
No, I did like 30 tries and I didn't do it.
Yeah, But if you tried 40 or 50, you might have done it. So it's one of those deals where how long does it actually take to do something like that?
All right, let's keep it to like a 40-hour work week. Let's keep it, say your job is to beat this game. I'd like to say I should be able to beat it after 40 hours of trying to beat it. So, if I...
Well, you would... Yeah, Castlevania you would, for sure.
Yeah, but I'm thinking Hagane on this one. But, and like any one of these, like, really hard action platformers. I'd like to think if I had a week to do it, like, and that's all I did, I'd like to think I'd be able to beat it by then.
Makes it interesting.
I mean, if you want to say, like, if I can, like, 1cc it, where, like, you know, basically you don't lose a life to get through it, then, that level of memorization is, like...
Okay, so I like you just brought that up. Here's my thing. Have you ever, and I'm not counting Star Fox or some of the games you're better at,
right?
And I'm not knocking them, but I don't see the appeal. Like, even with a really hard game, to me, the fun is like finally beating it. Like, wow, I got it. I've never had to go back and try to, like, even games you and I have played, like some of the Contras and Streets of Rage. I don't care if I lose a lot. Like, yeah, I just expect myself to do better, but I don't try to, like, figure out, like, oh man, here's the way to beat the game with not taking a hit or not losing a life, which ultimately ends up being things that they're not cheats, but they're kind of glitches or kind of like gaming the system. Like, you're never going to just do that from straight playing the game. You're going to recognize patterns. You're going to stand in an area. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Jump on this platform. That has never appealed to me as a gamer and someone that, like, it would never add a layer of fun is what I'm trying to say. Is that, like, appealing to you at all?
God, no. Like, you see it a lot with, especially, like, channels that are, like, dedicated to, like, shoot-em-ups. There's a guy called Schmuttmaster who likes to challenge himself to do that. And... like, all power to you if that's a goal you want to have, but I couldn't... because to me, that just comes down to ridiculous memorization. And the last time I put that much memorization into a game was Hotel Mario to beat Bowser. And that took me, like, probably 100 freaking tries until I learned down to the pixel exactly where everything was going to be. And that took me, like, 3 hours to do, and I was miserable the entire time. So,
and that was worth it, wasn't it, Chip?
Well, right, I beat Hotel Mario, so I have all the bragging rights in the world now. So obviously it was worth it. But yeah, that's a thing that I never want to go through again. So I don't think I would ever try to do that.
So that's something right there. There's a good example. You and I have talked about how much we've played, got challenges done, whatever. Is that a memory now you actually keep and at all cherish with you about you beat a really hard game like Hotel Mario?
Actually, kind of. Like,
do you? Okay.
It was frustrating as hell.
I don't know if it's just short-term memory or long. Like, I'm thinking about that. Like, I went through and did all the hardcore modes on, like, Call of Duties and whatever. And I remember in the moment, I'm like, God damn, I just want to get through. I want to, like, certain games that I did the hard shit on. And I was like, yes. And I can be honest, there's not a ton that beating them on the hardest level I can think of right now that, like, I'm still happy at. Like, it comes down to, like, yeah, that's an interesting thing. Like, there's people that speedrun. Once they hit that record or whatever they're aiming at, it's kind of like a fitness goal or, like, any goals in life. What do you do after that? Do you just go and, like, do something else? Because now you've spent a whole year of your life being the guy that can finally beat, you know, this game in now 14 minutes instead of 14 and a half minutes. Like, it's just interesting to me. And I, like you said, more power to you, not knocking it. I just don't understand that level of commitment for a game that ultimately the purpose of these things is entertainment. It's not more meant for that competitive drive unless you're playing a multiplayer game or something that really requires a high score. So it's like we've created this new arcade environment with speedruns that it's not a real thing. We created that. I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Yeah, like, I can't sit there and watch people try to do speedruns, but I've fallen down a YouTube well of, like, watching documentaries on people setting, like, these records. And it's people spending, like, a decade to try to knock off, like, 2/100ths of a second off of a time. And, like, the level of, like... that level of dedication I will never have for a single game. I'll tell you right now. But I mean, if that's the goal that you've given yourself to be in like a record book, hey man.
Well, that was like the tweet you posted where it was your YouTube hole and you were posting a video of the guy doing, what was it, Dragon Force?
Through the fire and flames at 165% speed. So faster than normal, almost, twice as fast. And he 100%ed it, never missed a note, and set the world record. And
here's the deal.
God.
I watched, I don't know. How long was that song? Like, I watched, I don't know, 4 minutes of that. Like, a lot of
Well, it was only like 5 minutes video total. Because the actual song's, what do you call it? Like, about 8-9 minutes, but sped up that way, it was like 4.5 minutes.
Honestly, and I'm not, I have to stress this, I'm not knocking the guy, but seeing that, watching him, like, I just imagine, in my head, I'm like, oh man, this guy has spent hundreds, thousands of hours doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Like, is he getting any, like, he got to a point where he 100%ed it on the regular speed, on the hardest, whatever, and that wasn't enough. Like, that's my point. Like, so what's next? Is he going to do that same song now 200%? Like, are you still getting any fun out of that? Like, I feel almost bad for when I see shit like that, because I'm like, there's nothing satisfying that whole. He's just going to look for the next hardest song at the highest speed, and if he can't find one, he's just going to play the same shit over and over and over on faster speeds. And it's like, it's impressive, but it's not like, I don't know, man. That shit makes me almost like sad. I'm like, oh man, like you could probably do something. You could legit at that point pick up and play a real guitar. Well, like you could do something.
The most ridiculous part of it at that point was he would occasionally look and talk to the chat and be like, ooh, I almost missed a note there. So he's just going off muscle memory and pure memorization. So
exactly,
and
that's
all fun with it.
Yeah.
All fun with it went out the window years ago. And I mean, Through the Fire and Flames has been, I think he was playing the Guitar Hero 5 version of it, but I mean that song's been around since 2008 in Guitar Hero land. So I mean, this is a song he's probably been working on for over a decade to become the world leader of.
Okay. Well, I know we got really sidetracked. I didn't mean to, but good question, Nerdy Nick.
Free content.
Yeah. Sorry.
And last up from Gamer Astral. If you could own any arcade game, not a one-up arcade, which one would it be and why?
Mine, if it's just... All right, I'll break it into two. I'll say for joysticks, I'll go the X-Men arcade game. Because it's just amazing. And... when I think arcade stick games, that's where my mind, that and The Simpsons, but I actually played X-Men way more. But if I think of like a peripheral, like a gun attached, goddamn, I'm really torn between like not Time Crisis, but like Time Crisis with the submachine gun. So it's like probably like Time Crisis 3 or 4. Just something that has a gun attached that was really fun. I like the sniper game, but I feel like that game was actually pretty short. So I'd go with one of those. Maybe I'll throw in like House of the Dead because I like horror, but yeah, one of those.
Yeah, mine would actually probably be a gun game too, and it would either be, I'm actually going to be with you with House of the Dead, because House of the Dead's like the one arcade game I came the closest to ever beating in an arcade. And then I'm like on the last boss and I ran out of quarters. And I was like, fuck! Like it was one of the worst feelings in the goddamn world at that point. And it would either be between that or Terminator 2, the arcade game, because I've always loved that game. And just like
that's a great
the presentation and that big hunking machine gun with all the grenades you can fire and shit. So
yeah,
it would either be one of those.
That's a good one. No, that's a great question. Yeah, it's always appealing. I don't know if it would lose appeal once you have it in the house and you put 100 hours into the machine. Like that's always my fear. Like I've seen these people who have gotten these machines, and even like the arcade one-ups. They're really cool novelties and whatever, but space is a goddamn commodity that a lot of us gamers, like Jim has talked about, like, you know, Jim's more of the collector than I am. I have a a fairly small shelf behind me, and I have a big digital collection because I'm mostly all about the playing. There's a certain point, man, you can't just have a whole bunch of arcade machines with just one game on it. It's cool, but there'd be a point where I'd be like, okay, just like we were just talking about, I've beaten this game, I've beaten X-Men or Terminator 2 now 50 times. It's the easiest game in the world to me. I don't want to get to that point where I play it so much that it's no longer a fun thing.
Yeah, and even like the arcade one-ups this past week, they were actually slashing prices at Walmart's.
Dirt cheap, yeah.
So you could get certain ones for $50. And even to me, I was like, fuck, man, $50. But I was like, one, I don't have the space. Two, I know after like a week I would never touch it again. So even like $50, and this is coming from goddamn me. Even for me, it wouldn't be really worth it in the end. And plus, I didn't want to risk getting the coof just for a thing I would never use. So
that's my point. I saw that from our buddy Nerdy Nick. I saw he posted and it made me look into it.
Yeah.
I legit was like, I might go out and get a couple of them, but it's not a money thing. It literally is a space thing, and I'm like, oh man, like would it wear off really, really fast for me? And I know the answer is yes, especially with us, like new games keep coming out. Like if we knew tomorrow there's no longer any new games ever going to come out, sure, go out, get everything you truly want. But new games are going to keep coming out, and I'm someone who plays new games. And I'm not, and once again, not knocking you, Jim, you don't play as many new games as I do.
Right.
And it's like, even if you're just a retro collector, there's so much shit to collect for and so many games out there. So the idea of an arcade cabinet or a one-up cabinet is a cool whatever. I like the idea better for your kids to get them introduced to it, and it's a toy for them and something to keep them entertained.
Yeah.
But for me, nah, it's not going to hold up.
Yeah, like my daughter's dentist, she actually, like their waiting room has a couple arcade one-ups there. And, you know, bright, colorful, loud noises, she'll go and she'll mess with it a little bit. She's 2.5, so she can't really play it. But, like, that's the thing that you're saying. It would be fun to play with her when she's older and she gets it more, but what, am I going to have this thing sit in my basement for 3 years before I can do that?
Yes.
Maybe. $50 is $50.
Oh, I can't wait till she breaks your TurboGrafx.
Oh.
Nothing will make me happier.
Just never being allowed down in the game room. Never.
Or your CDI, she spills like something on it. She puts a waffle in there.
Luckily for me, the CD tray barely works in that thing, so I think I'm safe on that front.
Good question. I really like that one, but yeah. Even if I had the opportunity, it would have to be a fucking dirt cheap price for the most ideal arcade cabinets for me to actually want to bring it here. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're in the same boat on that one. But yeah, that rounds up the Patreon questions. So thank you once again, everyone.
Thank you all.
All right, so really quick, this is a fun little thing I saw on Twitter. A guy said that if you take your Twitter handle and you type it exactly into Google search and hit on news, you can see where any news articles that you've been quoted in. So, of course, I had to do it because I'm vain as shit. So, we had two. We had two things come up, and not even that one article we were in before from the Metro Sun. So, one's from the Korea portal from 2016 talking about No Man's Sky, and they randomly just used our tweet where we said that we're taking a look at it for our review video. So, that was random. And then the other one is from Topo Centra's Euronics Group. I don't even know what language I'm looking at right now. And they quote created the thing when I trolled Ninja that time. So that Ninja quote got around, Brian. 2 whole news articles.
Well, listen. Yeah, it would make no sense for me to even do that on my own because I touch Twitter 3 times a week, and it's usually to bitch at you. So
yeah, that's accurate.
For ours, you have more. I mean, our main account has a lot more followers, but yeah, it's Googling yourself or like Googling like your whatever. If you get to a certain number, it makes sense. But if you're like under a certain number, you know you're just not going to find anything. So there's not really a point.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like even for us, it was like I was like, yeah, let's see if we were putting anything, and I was shocked
Yeah.
we were even in two of these goddamn things. So, like,
Jim's like, I justify all my shit posting.
I'm in news articles. I need to quote these so we can get verified on Twitter.
Damn it, Jim.
Right, I can be a blue check mark, and then I can explain how retarded my tweets are.
Nobody is going to blue check mark you because they see half your responses and they're like, we can't do that. I would actually protest it. I'd be like, until he gives better answers. Like, the shit you put out there, god damn.
My answers are fantastic.
I thought about that today, like adding that segment back in about things you tweet that piss me off. But the problem is you literally have so much that I'm just at the point where I'm like, I just wish there was an easier way you could have a disclaimer that, like, all the opinions expressed here are Jim blub blub and does not reflect the full page because the other half likes good stuff. But unfortunately, we can't do that.
I could put that in the bio, but where's the fun?
I know, Jim. I know.
Bro, I'm taking you down with me. That's what it all comes down to. I've been waiting a long time for an avenue to do that.
Son of a bitch. Anyway, we're going to move on to one of our only beer topics. It actually is our only beer topic for today. Unfortunately, don't want to harp on Corona impacted news every week, but it's kind of hard not to, and especially from foodandwine.com, Jim posted this here. A whole bunch of draft beer will be dumped due to the COVID-19 closures. We already mentioned the impact of craft breweries and everything that we've been going through. A lot of places are trying to do home delivery. And as I've said before, in PA alone, you have hundreds and hundreds of breweries. But literally there's maybe, in my area, 10 to 15 to maybe 20 that are doing any kind of deliveries. So without doubt, in this article it mentions 99% of independent breweries have been impacted by COVID. Beer sales are down well over 90% because a lot of restaurants are closed, and especially at the breweries themselves where they come right off the tap. So the amount of beer that's going to be wasted that was drafted up, because anyone that knows anything about alcohol, once if you were making a batch in January, February, or if you were starting a batch in March, if you can't sell it, you kind of have to dump it. It is a perishable. So unfortunately, this is what we're seeing across the board. And a lot of these breweries, as we've said before, are not going to be able to sustain this over a long-term period. And there's a part of me, how do I want to put this? You and I've said already, there was way too many craft breweries. Like, everything was becoming a microbrewery or whatever. And I love the local tavern, going to my local brewery, getting beers. I love that atmosphere. But at the same time, nothing pissed me off more than a brewery that clearly outsold itself way too much and didn't start some form of rudimentary canning and distributing other places. I know business models have to make sense. I know you have to make money, and I know you want to keep the batch consistent, and you might not have the operations. But at the same time, like, if you're just a brewery that's meant to stay in your local town that might only have, 5,000, 10,000 people, then okay, that's your goal and you're hit the hardest. But if you're someone like, I use Tired Hands as an example, they are one of the hottest breweries in Philly, and they've opened up other small little microbreweries throughout PA, and they have lines around the corner, and they do can releases. And some places will carry those cans, but ultimately it's still such a limited distribution that's like, dude, you obviously have struck fire with your brand. Do what you got to do, get the loans in place, and start distributing much more so people can actually try your shit, so you can hire more people and like build up. That's one of the frustrating things about liking craft beers is if I tell Jim about craft beers, they might not be available the following week because they're only distributing at the local place near us. And you know, I don't know. It's a weird. Like I said, I'm going back and forth, but you talk about what you think about this, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, it's a goddamn shame. The biggest thing that they were talking about in this article alone was keg production. So all the beer that got batched and put in the kegs that were supposed to go to like local bars and tap rooms and all that shit, that's all basically useless. So I know that some of them have some ways of being able to go from a keg to bottling, and some of like there's always like going to be a guy with a kegerator that you could always sell it to, but that's such a small market in general.
Like me.
Yeah, that is true. And then there's also the like some breweries have had ways that you can distill beer back down to just alcohol, and they've been making hand sanitizer out of it to help with that, you know, kind of crisis lack of thing out there. But some beers you can't do that with. So there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of stock that's just getting dumped. So, and especially with craft beer, as it said in the article, that craft beer more than macro beer is meant for freshness. So unless it's one of those ones where people try to age them and shit like that, after 2 to 3 months, it's basically useless. So, yeah, it's like you said. There was a glut of riches and shit happened, and now everything's hurting.
And this is one of the things I want to keep in mind is I'm not even blaming. I'm not saying like, oh, craft breweries should have known that this shit could have happened, and
yeah, you can't predict a pandemic. Yeah.
No, like there's no. That's why we're in a situation we're in, and unfortunately, service industries, many industries are hurting beyond belief because no one could anticipate this. You can't make a business model and say, well, what if this happens? Because you don't expect this shit to happen. I feel awful for them, and I really hope that they can persevere and come back once shit gets back to normal. But there are going to be a good slicing of some of them that's like, okay, like you were a brewery that just made another IPA. Like, there comes a point where it's like, okay, recognize maybe what you were doing. You were just hitting. Think of it like the YouTube purge that happened, what, a year or two ago, when so many.
It's been a few.
Like, I mean,
the big one when the first one when the first apocalypse happened, when they changed the rules to 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours.
And that's the thing. You and I are still small as shit, a joke of size when it comes to channels.
God knows what the news on our last couple videos, huh?
But that's my point is like, we didn't do this because we were like, oh, we know we're going to make money off it. Like, we're still doing it because we enjoy it. We like bringing content. We like reviewing random weird games. We like interacting with all you. So you got to have your mind in the right place. Like, if you're doing it for strictly a money-making thing, the shit will not last. But if you're a YouTuber, if you're a beer creator, it doesn't matter. You got to be smart about, are you doing it for the right reasons? Are you doing it just to make a quick buck? Because it seems like this is the thing to go after. And I think there's a lot of people who try to become content creators strictly because it was like, oh, that could be an easy side job where I make easy money. Oh, but then I really got to commit time to it. Like, there's so many factors in it. But yeah, it does suck for them. And it was worth mentioning. Hopefully in a month or two, things will slowly start getting back to normal, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, PA alone, they're starting to preliminarily open up in a week or two, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Now,
fingers crossed. That's all I'll say.
And it's going to be one of two things. Either everyone's still going to be scared and it's going to take a long time for people to go back, or people are sick of being cooped up and they're going to go rushing back.
I think you're going to get a combination of both. And I think the people that are scared, I mean, nothing's going to happen to them. I think people will rush back. I think you'll see, oh man, weird. There's a spike in numbers. And it'll just reinforce people who stayed at home, and it'll re-scare people who went out. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Hopefully there's a nice middle ground.
Yeah, it's a fine line because you can't stay locked in forever. Like, the economy can't take that, so.
Yeah.
Where probably the government can pour more sand into skate parks. That's a whole different argument.
That's important, Jim.
Oh, it's important. There's damned kids.
Jim, we just need to move on to this goddamn next topic because I've been waiting.
Oh. All right, so this is a little out of our normal realm here, but still in the realm of gaming.
Fuck.
So, Brian, I don't know if you know this or not, but orcs in Dungeons and Dragons, they are problematic.
Hold on. I need to...
You're gonna
scroll.
Are you resetting all your stuff so you can rant?
No. I need to scroll down to the exact tweet. Because it's been a couple days.
And that's a big old thread. And there's a shitload of these out there. But I put 2 threads in here, and of course the one that I know you like the most is from James Introcaso. Whoever that is.
That's the only... I'll put it this way. That's the only one we're going to focus on.
You don't want to talk about the girl who was like, I didn't have the bravery to step up for basically black people while I was developing the game behind the scenes or something? I didn't challenge this when I was working for her.
Hold on. I have to find this. Do you have the exact thread? Because I don't know if you got rid of it.
No, it's still there. I clicked on it right before we started. It's in the it's in the Google Drive.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm opening it right now.
It's the first one. Should be.
Okay.
I did my prep work.
What's his name again, Jim?
James Introcaso.
Yeah, that fuckface. So he writes that the current and past ideas and language surrounding orcs, tieflings, and a bunch of other sapient beings is problematic in D&D, and for those of you who aren't nerds, means Dungeons and Dragons and other RPGs. If your response to that is their fantasy, my response is it should be no problem changing it for safety and comfort of players. It goes on. Hold on.
Oh, keep going.
This isn't to say there aren't evil orcs. There are, just like there are evil humans. And he put a fucking cat. Oh god damn it! Exclamation point after that. Monolithic thinking like this is bad and boring. Monolithic, like it's fucking one religion. Monolithic thinking like this is bad and boring. There is a lot of racism baked into our fantasy. And it's good to call it out and change it. Hold on, before I go on. Would you consider an orc a race or a species?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean...
Because I don't think an orc...
species, because they're probably... genetically different than the tieflings or the whatever the fucks.
I'm saying, like, compared to fucking humans. You don't even have to go to... I don't even know what the fuck a tiefling is. I'm just saying, don't say racism, because that's not a thing when you're talking about goddamn fantasy created... hold on. I'm going to go on. Hold on. When we do that, we get games that are more fun for everyone and more creative and original. I want good beholders and mind flayers and evil angels. I want language that wasn't used to describe existing humans to make them seem lesser than others. And I am 100% still learning this. Listening to others is huge. Doing research is important. Hiring and working with people who are not exactly like me is the best thing that can be done. I learn new lessons every day and have my eyes open. Thank you to those who speak up. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't care. You can be the biggest nerds in the world. I really don't give a shit. And Jim, please, if you think this is at all fake, because I tried to... I went through this dude's Twitter, and I'll put his fucking link below. It's he does workouts to fucking... There's apparently a D&D workout that's his every other fucking picture. But what are you talking about, dude? Number one, he's upset because I guess generally orcs are considered bad. Is like the whole claim to fame is, and that's apparently racist and monolithic. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Oh my god! Like, there's so many layers to that. Like, be a nerd, care about what your craft, and this guy is a game designer
for D&D.
I don't know what the fuck. Okay, which makes sense if you got fuckheads like this, which is why no one plays that shit anymore. At least not like they used to.
Debatable.
He's a he has a whole bunch of shit here, and oh god, there's just so much I want to say and want to hit on, but He's also a guy that retweeted somebody who wrote a book about fucking paninis. Who writes a goddamn book about paninis because it's a goddamn sandwich that you toast in a...
Brian, what kind of paninis, though?
It doesn't fucking matter, Jim, because you know what a panini is? It's a sandwich that gets put in a goddamn panini toaster. And all a panini toaster is a fucking Foreman grill that gets called a panini toaster. And... somebody took the time to publish a goddamn book. And we have a friend of ours who changed his name specifically to write 2 books. And we bust his balls. But we expect that from someone like him. And the fact...
Right, what you're trying to say... So you're trying to say that people should go to Amazon and purchase the books by Marshall Roy?
That's right. But my point is, this fuckhead is sitting here and legitimately, like, this is who this guy is. He's legitimately concerned about language used to describe fantastical, made-up creatures because it could be perceived as racist. Forget the fact that it's this different species. It's not a real thing. That'd be like, oh man, vampires. You guys keep making fun of their teeth having fangs. What the fuck is up with that? Or werewolves don't have to be hairy. They can be skinless. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? I have huge problems with that. And hold on 1 second because my camera's about to die. All right, I don't want to keep ranting about this guy. Jim, you take the helm because I don't ever get wrapped up in Twitter shit. And I don't get wrapped up in people like this. It legit pissed me off because I can't tell if this guy is sincere, like this is something that truly worries him, or is he just trying to get those white knight social media points and being the most virtuous? Like, I really don't know what his agenda is. I don't give a fuck because it's just ridiculous. And I'm more pissed that I care that much. Like, at first it was a passing thing. And this is the type of shit I see Jim comment on and I get really mad. I'm like, I need to stop checking Twitter. But there can't be people that truly exist like this. So, Jim, you take it off.
Oh, these people exist, Brian. These people exist. So, okay. You only ever see shit like this from white people who live in Western developed countries. Because people with countries with real problems don't have time to think about shit like this. This is the definition of a first world problem. And here you go. You know what? Here's what I'm going to say to you, Mr. D&D creator. Go ahead. Let's just use the word, let's use prejudice. Let's use prejudice of races in D&D. Let's take it out. All right, make your stories now. Who's the enemy? Because when you take it away from one race, you're going to have to, or species, you're going to have to take it away from all of them. So who's the bad guy now? How do you build a story about orcs and dragons and blah, da, blah, da, blah, da, blah, da, blah? How do you do any kind of storytelling now? Look, are stereotypes wrong in a lot of cases? Sure. Are they there for a reason in some cases? Sure. Is it a goddamn thing that is an easy storytelling trope? Yes. It always comes down to keep it simple, stupid. So, if you don't want people to have any kind of real quest in your game or they just walk the entire time, okay, have fun with your game failing, because I don't know how you do what he wants without taking away... It's fucking D&D. Who cares? Who goddamn cares this much? That's what it comes down to. Why do you care so goddamn fucking much?
Jim, is it bad that part of me... Like, I hate this guy so much, and hate's the wrong word.
Right, it's like it's like I don't know. I don't play D&D. I don't know if there's like groups of D&D players. There probably are who are like, orcs are committing 55% of the thefts when they're only 13% of the world population of whatever the world is there. Like, there could be those assholes out there like that, but there's always a small minority. It's not the big group. The best part of these tweets is all the people who go, hey, I'm a black D&D player here, and I don't give a fuck, and I don't see it. You see it.
Well, but that's the problem. Once again, he is trying to gain social points by assuming a racist assumption on these characters when you're talking about fucking make-believe. Like, there's difference. If there was a human character that was similar to a race of ours, then it could be racist. You're talking about fucking green-skinned, muscle-bound, they look like the super mutants from Fallout, like orcs, like fucking orcs. They're fucking orcs. And my barber at one of my places, she was, I both loved, and I was like, oh man, I know every time I'm going to get a haircut, it's going to be a whole hour and a half thing, because we're going to talk about all types of nerd stuff. And she was really into D&D and told me all about parties she would have. And she would like tell me these things, like where she made a character, and this one was a whore, and this one was a this, and it was bad, and it shouldn't have been bad. Like, went into it, and I don't know much about D&D, and I'm a big nerd too. But Jesus Christ, like I was like, okay, like I get it. Like people who play these games are hardcore. But like you're trying to put real world politics into a fantasy game and you're trying to make it more accepting. And this guy also retweeted other things about like a character who had a prosthetic leg, and somebody had a complaint about that because why should someone hide their disability because it's not a real disability? I'm like, I don't even fucking get the rabbit holes that I started going down. What I wanted to ask you, Jim, is would it be out of bounds of me? And I'm not saying she's attractive. I'm not even saying she's ugly.
Yes, Brian, you hate-filled bastard.
If I went and banged his wife that he puts in there and just left something saying orcs are not real, what do you think would upset him more? Banging his wife or leaving a message like that on her back?
I don't know, Brian, because on her back, Jesus, you snuck that one in there, you piece of shit.
You didn't even hear that.
It took a couple seconds for that to register, so bravo to you on that one, you piece of shit. Wow. But
if it was her choice, Jim, then you know.
Well, Brian, that's a catch-22 right there, because no matter which one he says, he's in trouble. Because if he says he'd be more upset about his wife, well, now the cucks are coming after you.
God, I hate people. I like, and I know
Brian,
what's going to happen.
There's nothing inherently wrong with being a cuckold.
God, don't even get me started. But here's the deal. I hate the fact, and I would fucking hit you if you were here because of you, I will check this guy's Twitter every once a week, and it'll get me fucking furious. Like, we all have that person we follow that we know just pisses us off, or just looks at their profile and just be like, oh, what is fuckhead doing today?
Oh, yeah.
And this guy has now been added to my repertoire of those people, and I'm like, God damn it, Jim, this is your fault. So, thank you for that, you son of a bitch.
Oh, you were quite welcome.
Fucking orcs. Oh my God. So yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the orcs have big lips, so who's to say?
All
Mr.
I'm
Popo.
going to say is look at the links below. You decide for yourself. If you're someone who's a hardcore, I don't care. Be a nerd and care about the stories behind things and whatever. But for fuck's sake, please don't apply real world politics. And the thing that really drives me crazy, and this is my last point, just don't use words like the safety of and comfort of players. How much more safe and comfort do you have to be when you're in a fucking room that's conditioned air, eating your goddamn Doritos, drinking your soda with your goddamn whatever in the background, and you're playing a fake game? How much more safe and comfortable do you need to be? Seriously?
Bri, please. I know it's gamer fuel, but please don't bring Doritos into this.
I didn't go with the obvious Cheetos, Jim. I tried to upgrade to Doritos because I want some goddamn Doritos right now.
Some Doritos, too. I always want Doritos.
So, and I'm also 3 beers deep on strong beers, and I switched over, so fuck this guy. His wife hit me up, and we'll talk later. All right,
so before we get going, I have one more of these beers left.
Oh, please pop all over.
I'm going to fucking pop
Jim,
what?
It'll be very apropos to the next topic we're going to. Hold it right in front of your face so it can spray you in the face if it opens wrong.
God damn it. All right, so let me see if I'm doing this wrong first, and maybe it's a twist off that I shouldn't. Nope, it's not a twist off.
So clearly what you should be asking is, you got to ask Sandy, did she move all your beers, and in moving it, did she accidentally kind of shake them up?
No,
because that seems...
No, you know what probably happened? You know what probably did it? When I did my review of the box. That's probably how I did it. Moving it upstairs, back and forth, trying to position it for the fucking camera. Probably did it to my goddamn self. The whole goddamn fucking case that's been sitting there for 2.5 weeks since I've done that video is still probably shooken up.
Good job, Jim.
All right.
Go ahead. Wait, let's do a countdown. 3,
Got
2, 1.
Oh, there it goes.
He's sucking away. The way Mama Napoleon used to. His silence means he's still doing it.
Yeah, and I'm not a good chugger, so I have to like take big mouthfuls and then suck it all down. So use that quote as much as you want.
Jim, we have so many quotes by you. I don't even need to use that one. Oh, Jim.
All right. Crisis averted. I saved some clothes tonight.
So I'll let you introduce this next topic, because I'm just going to sit back in all my glory of something that I've called weeks ago. But go on.
All right. So we have been asked by our friends online to give our thoughts on the current surge. Oh, man, I just screamed the shit out of that.
You sure did.
The current surge in OnlyFans accounts popping up, especially in the gamer community.
Oh, man. So, first thing I want to say is, yes, it seems very prevalent in the gamer community, but it's honestly everywhere. It's not just gamer community.
It's everywhere.
It's beer community. It's just, let's just be honest. It's girls who are in their 22s to 35s age range, and they're at a point where they're seeing this spike of the ability to create an OnlyFans. For those of you who don't know, it's just think of it like Patreon, but for, I'll just say, softcore porn.
Well,
porn.
It's for
like wearing.
It's for whatever level of porn you want.
Exactly. So it could just be literally like it's just a girl dressed sexy to full nude to banging. It doesn't matter. The point that's not the important thing is, but I mentioned this to Jim, and then we were on the podcast, The Thought Cops, and we had been asked what was an internet trend that was bothering us.
That was your 2 minutes of hate.
And my 2 minutes of hate was simply just like, I don't care. Yo, make money. Like, if you're a girl and you're comfortable enough and you think it's a good idea, I don't think it's a good idea, because as we know, our generation has been told, like, yo, don't send nudes to each other over the phone because that shit will get leaked. And now you are straight up offering it up on a service that, yes, people have to pay for, but you don't think some of those fucks are going to turn around and just leak to the internet? So either way, there's this huge surge in people creating these OnlyFans to make money. And some of them are probably, well, not probably, they are making bank.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was just angry. I was like, dude. And I said this very clearly, I'm not suggesting I'm a dime. I'm not suggesting I'm like whatever. But the amount some of these girls are asking for, and they are not of the quality that you should be paying that much for, was ridiculous. You're talking $20-$30 a month for someone that's just like you work with at your local whatever. Like, it just, that blew my goddamn mind. And I was just like, the balls on those people, I respect it because they're clearly getting paid and they're getting people subscribing to them. But I'm just also like, man, that makes me so much more sad, because same way like with paying too much for games, there's so much free shit out there. Like, do you really got to pay for that? Do you really need to see this particular person? Maybe there's a lot of people out there who haven't had a lot of experience in the world, and this is how they get off. I don't know, but I just, yeah, The surge is insane. And since you and I have even talked about it, Jim, oh my God, the number I've seen explode since then is, it's like every other person is just realizing like, oh, I could just be like in my bra and I can charge crazy amounts and I'll create an OnlyFans. It's good for you guys. I guess during this coronavirus, and if you all have kids when you grow up, you'll have to explain this little period where you were just trying to make some extra money and you have pictures all over. Do what you gotta do, man. Make your money. But don't complain down the line when the shit gets leaked, because it so obviously will. So that's my only little thought on that.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, I don't, like, I really, I don't care. But it's also because I'm the one who's on the goddamn internet more. I'm the one who has to see the random threads poke up where an OnlyFans girl is super proud of what she's doing and has no regrets, and, you know, there's no downside to doing an OnlyFans. And it's like, I mean, I don't know if I'm quickly getting old, but I remember a time when we had a thing called shame. Now, of course, I'm shameless in a lot of ways, but there's just some things that I can't look at and be like, I don't care if you do it, but don't expect me to be happy for you. Like, anytime you come, I think it stretches out more to just anytime you do a thing where you get easy money or you've come into a lot of money after a while, your ability to really call out your haters goes away because you're getting compensated. So don't have your cake and eat it too. I think that's what pisses me off more. Like, the past week, Ninja was in another goddamn fucking Twitter thing where he was complaining to some random guy with 30 followers who, like, trolled him. That he's like, well, what about the 10 years of 12 hours a day that I spent playing? It's like, dude, you made $20 moving to Mixer, or $20 million moving to Mixer. No one cares if people don't like you. You shouldn't care any goddamn more. And if you're a random girl who, say, most famously recently, iDubbbz' girlfriend, she's probably making a couple thousand a goddamn month, and she ain't even getting naked. She's just sitting there in her underwear. And she's maybe a 7 out of 10 at best. So I'm not even as mad at the girls about it, but yeah, I mean, I think the problem comes down to, like, God, the guys who just get sucked into this stuff. It's a little weird because there is more of a connection than just, say, buying porno, because you can still message, you can still talk to. Like, they have to make a connection to really draw people in, that kind of deal. And they're very prevalent on social media. So I'm not going to say it's, like, predatory, but, I mean, it's simp candy. Like, they can't help themselves. So
I mean, it comes down to, how am I going to word this?
I blame the people paying for it way more than girls. Like, if I could make the money, I can't say I want to do it.
At the end of the day, yes, you are right. From what I've seen, there is a bigger connection with your fans, because hence OnlyFans. But it's essentially a non-penetration form of prostitution. Like, you have people who will say, like, I want to see this, I'm subscribed, so you should give this to me. I don't care. Like, make your money. Do whatever you gotta do. But like Jim said, I don't want to hear 5-10 years down the line if shit resurfaces or you're having trouble. We all make terrible decisions. Like I said, we all have that, if you send out dick pics, if you send out this, if you did this, like, shit will bite you in the ass. Like, and that was one of the things, like, that was instilled in us. Like, don't be sharing that stuff. So we see celebrities get their shit hacked. We see, who was it? I think she was on, I forget what podcast, or Howard Stern, that one porn star, it's going to kill me. I can't remember her name. Mia Khalifa, or what the hell is her name?
Mia Khalifa, yeah.
Yeah, she talked about how, like, she made, like, only $500 a shoot on some of those things, and she got out of it. But, like, now life is terrible for her because that's all she's known. Like,
right.
There's levels to this shit, and unfortunately, I feel like some of these people making these decisions, it's such a short term. Like, I'm gonna make like $7,000 in the next couple months, which is crazy money, but the impacts, they're going to be bigger than you can expect. And like Jim said, if you are connecting with these trolls, and I'm going to call them trolls, that are following you and try to respond to you, and if you piss them off, unfortunately, they're probably going to be the same type of dudes that are going to be able to hack and do some awful shit.
Oh, a lot have been hacked and leaked already. Tons, shitloads.
Which like that part of it, I hate that that's a thing. But that's the game you're playing. So I won't judge you. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yo, you shouldn't do that. Do what you got to do. But if you come back and say, oh man, it's awful, this happened because all my shit got leaked, I'm not going to feel bad for you. I'm going to be like, well, you also made $7,000. So it's like, yeah, it's a slippery slope. And you do see the two camps. You see the white knights that are defending it. Like, they can do whatever they want. Like that dude you mentioned, I forget his name, but that was another guy. But it's just, and then there's the camps of dudes that are like, oh man, that's ridiculous. But it's like, dude, we all know what we look at. We all know what we do.
Oh, yeah.
Stop trying to act like you wouldn't look at it if it was free. But the same deal, like, don't super defend it when a girl complains. Like, she's like, oh man, I had 300 subscribers at $20 a month, and this guy was really mean to me. Yeah, well, shit happens. Like, realize what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a weird way I can say it is it's like being a stripper but non-contact, and like being able to, I guess, control the entire way you do it in a way. And that's even if you want to get naked. Like I said, a lot of them don't even do that. They just do bikini pics or cosplay or shit like that. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's a weird thing. Like there was that story like a week and a half ago about there was some lonely guy in Florida who had a room covered.
Of course.
Of course, it was Florida, man. Who had a room covered with anime toys. Who had charged like $500,000 in credit card debt to his parents' credit card bill, and or $50,000 or some astronomical number anyway. And
there was a big difference between 500 and 50. But
either way, it's still ridiculous. I know.
Magnitude's different, but go ahead.
Magnitude 10, I get it. But they were like, he considered the girl he was following, and it wasn't OnlyFans. It was like just some cam girl. But he considered her his girlfriend because he would pay the extra money for, the one-on-one sessions that you can do in those things. And when they took away his credit card, he took his brother's gun and he killed his entire family. So
yeah, but that's just a fucked up. I mean,
There's always the outliers. I'm saying there's always the outliers. But it's that kind of connection that kind of could happen. And it's like I said last week with I think it was gambling or some other thing where it's always going to be the small percentage of people who do it who put the most money into it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the people that will knowingly... That's my point. Like, once again, some of the people doing this are not... We're not talking supermodels. We're talking girls that you're like, oh, man, she's hot. It'd be cool to see her naked, but I'm not paying $50 a month, and I'm just not paying for a period. Right. That's the interesting part. You're now getting, like, that more legit, like... It's just the everyone thinks they can become not a porn star, yeah, like you said, like a stripper, like whatever word you want to use. It's just, hey man, just be smart, like really think about it before you hit that, like whatever you have to go through to become a legit person doing this. Like fully think it out. Is it truly worth it? If you're in a situation you ain't got no money, then do what you gotta do to survive. But man, like, just be prepared for the consequences. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, like, I mean, I had a short time where I was in a band with some strippers, and they never once said, "Man, I'm sure glad I'm doing this." So I don't know. I think it's just a whole different world, and who knows? Maybe this will be one of those other things that becomes the new normal. I don't know. The difference between 5 years on the internet is so freaking crazy at this point. With what becomes like, a thing that people go, yeah, they do that.
Yeah, but here's the deal. When you say new normal, there's accepted culture, which the internet, which is, once again, it's a very small percentage of the actual people out there. They might say, no, body positivity, make your money, do what you got to do, da-da-da-da-da. Cool. But years down the line, when you go for a job, and someone can do a quick Google search, which they did for me back in the day, and it was one of those jokes my boss made, like, yo, I saw you on Facebook, you had a picture of you with a beer. Like,
Oh yeah.
even that, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, that scared the shit out of me. And this is the, like, kind of early days of Facebook. You think someone's not going to Google search you and it's not going to be real quick to figure out, like, oh, okay. And people are using different names, but...
Oh, there's a ton of jobs that ask for all of your social media info so they can do a background check on you.
Yeah.
Passwords and all.
That's... So, yeah, socially, people are going to say, do you? But if you want a legit career, people probably aren't going to be as cool. So just be aware of that. That's all I'm going to say.
On the dice.
Yeah.
This is a weird episode of the podcast.
All I'm going to say is I called it, though, Jim.
Well, the numbers don't lie, Brian. The signups for OnlyFans spiked when quarantine happened. So,
Jim, give me my credit.
and I will give you nothing.
All right, so the next one is one of our recurring bits. It's overrated, underrated, and it comes to our buddy Snarcast. Fallout New Vegas, and it's been tied to the fact that I've said I finally finished Fallout New Vegas. I'm on Fallout 76. My quick take is, because I know what Jim's gonna go with, so I'll just say overrated for the sheer fact that Jim and other people, maybe I'm in a circle where, because Jim has a lot of people that follow his kind of mindset, people really talked about how amazing Vegas is. And I'm probably spoiled because I already played 4. I had my feelings about 3. 3 set such a pinnacle for Fallout in general, going to the legit new system from the old point and clicks, the storytelling and everything. But the more I've played and the more I think about it, New Vegas is an amazing game. It's still an A+. It's not taking any knocks. But the problem is the story is weak compared to the other Fallouts, because Fallout's always been about the people coming out of the vaults and what the lore behind it. This one's just about a courier who gets shot in the head, and then he's trying to figure out who shot me. If you really are obsessed with Las Vegas, you're going to love the kind of surrounding lore of that game. I feel like that's why this game is considered non-canon. It's kind of pulled back from the original main series. And it just... people talk about this game like it's the best ever. And every element of the game has now been outdated. Like Jim loves the fact that you had an ability to have this hardcore mode where you have to drink, you have to have bullets that have weight and stim packs, yada yada yada. But now Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, that's a norm now. So it's not like it's set that precedent, but that's not the only one who's done it. So when I look at it from those perspectives, and what really made me settle on this is, of all the Fallout games, this one was by far the fucking glitchiest. I had that game crash on me so many times. I had to save like a goddamn animal. And I was already someone who oversaved in games, but just for fear, because it crashed on so many key moments or stupid glitches happened. And I know that's a common Bethesda thing, but I really didn't experience it in Skyrim or Fallout 4 that much. This game was riddled with it. So for those reasons, I'll say it's overrated.
You know what? I'm going to shock you here, Brian.
Go on.
I'm going to say overrated strictly because the storyline in general, I would say, is the least memorable of any Bethesda game that I've played.
It's weak. Yeah.
It's really weak. I haven't played 4 yet, and I know most people who love New Vegas as the best one love it because strictly as like an RPG, it's the most true RPG-ish of all of them. Like me and you have never been huge RPG guys, so I think that's why you like 4 the most, because the stuff around it, like including the combat and stuff, is more refined than it's more focused on more of the action than it is over the RPG, even though the RPG stuff's there. I know the RPG fans love New Vegas as the most of any of the Bethesda games, which I get, but of all the ones I've played, I probably like it as an RPG game the most, but just as, and it is, I would say probably it might be my favorite Bethesda game, just because of I really did like the gameplay and like my time with it, but the story is completely forgettable, and that's the biggest problem with it. Like Fallout 3, it had so many amazing set piece moments, like Skyrim, just like the world and like even the soundtrack that it had to get stuck in your head and fighting dragons, or Oblivion with like the dark brooding, like the world of Oblivion, like, you know, that hellscape. You don't have any of that with New Vegas. So while New Vegas still is probably like, if there's one that I would like to have its system of gameplay implemented into more games, it would be that one. I still say as an overall experience, it is probably overrated.
Okay, well, you shocked me, so I guess we agree this week.
Shockingly.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's still my favorite, but I think all Bethesda games are a little overrated, especially since they're all kind of glitchy messes, even though I still love playing all of them.
Don't you dare say that.
They are glitchy messes.
Shut your dirty fuck mouth.
You know how many goddamn achievements have not registered because the game went, oh, no, you didn't finish this, but I'm like, but I did finish it. And they're like, oh, no, you didn't finish it. I'm like, I
yeah, but you
finished
didn't do it right. So, yeah, let us know below. If you think it's underrated, I would love to hear why and dispute it, because, yeah, I don't think anyone talks shit about that game that much. I think everyone...
No, it's the favorite for a lot of people. And you know what it is? I guarantee it's because of... It's the RPG fans. That's what it is.
But to your point, the only reason that thing that makes it more RPG-ish is because of that thing that I said I don't like, which is you're completely random, you're a courier. But what really fucks that up, and I know you didn't play the DLC, you get a whole backstory of what this guy, you get like more of a backstory, I'll say, of what this guy was. So that kind of goes out the window. Like, you're not really truly, like, you're still creating what he does. I would look more like Skyrim. You're just an unknown prisoner for whatever bullshit crime. And then you truly choose your allegiance. You have no backstory whatsoever. So you start completely slate clean. Like, that to me is actually more RPG-ish than any of them, because what other game do you start off with almost zero backstory? Like in a Bethesda, I mean.
Yeah, and I guess they took that luster off it with New Vegas with all the DLC too. But, whatever. I didn't play any of the DLC, so that's what I played with.
The DLC was interesting,
Besides my
too.
Becca.
That's a short playthrough, Jeff.
Is it ever?
All right. So let us know below if you have any thoughts about why it's underrated. With that, though, we will move on to our final topic, and it's another recurring bit, and it's a which is better, and Jim put this in here. I'm already mad, but not mad. Let's see how Jim goes. He surprised me in the last one.
You know how I'm going to go.
So, I know how you're going to go. So, the N64 or the GameCube? We kind of danced around this because for a while there, we were doing a whole bunch of polls. So we talked about best systems. So we kind of got into it with the N64 and GameCube before. And here's the deal. I still believe the N64, if you're just talking about these two consoles, I think the N64 holds up as if you're at a party, somebody has one, you have 4 controllers, that is the party game. The multiplayer, like sit on the couch, you're playing GoldenEye, you're playing, Mario Kart, you're playing Smash Brothers, like you're playing something like that. GameCube had much better versions of most of those games. They clearly had the better version of Smash. It did have some great games, but I will also say it didn't have as many timeless, memorable games. But what's funny is if you go back and play the GameCube, there's no situation where you're going to sit there and not agree that the GameCube is more impressive technically. Sound, graphics, it's not a competition with that. I guess what Jim's getting at here is the overall just which is a better console. Because I know Jim is going to go N64, I'll just be devil's advocate and say GameCube, for the reason that I think it personally had better versions of all the first party titles that were on the N64, but also that system was a reason why there was a Resident Evil 1 remake. There was a system that had crazy, incredible specs for games of the time, and it was one of the few, if not the only, Nintendo console since the NES and Super NES that could compete with modern consoles as far as technical capabilities. Since then, the Nintendo brand has taken a shitter. And I'm not saying it's made shit games. I'm saying like the Wii specs don't compare to 360 and PS3. The Wii U is a complete garbage. The Switch doesn't. It holds some water, but it still doesn't quite compare to the Xbox One and PS4. The GameCube arguably could do games almost as good as the PS2 and Xbox, and in some cases might have done some games better. It also introduced some very unique titles that I think are underrated, like Godzilla Destroy All Monsters, Luigi's Mansion. There's just a whole litany of games that were really good that those games don't get appreciated, and debatably one of the most favorited versions of Smash ever. I still think the newest Smash Ultimate is the best, but Melee is obviously still hailed as a favorite for a lot of tournament fighters. And let me be very clear. I'm saying this because I know Jim's about to say N64 is better. So go ahead, Jim.
Well, it's clearly N64. Because here's the argument, Brian.
Let's hear.
Here's the argument.
Go ahead.
Besides Smash Melee, what we have said it 1,000 times before, that Nintendo lives and dies off its first-party IPs. What first-party IP on the GameCube is better or more impactful than the one that was on the N64?
What do you mean?
Like, which one is, like, if you put them side by side, like the first-party games, the ones people care about, between N64 and GameCube, and you take Smash out of it, which console has the games that people are going to go to?
Think the Zelda games are better on the GameCube because Ocarina of Time is overrated.
Oh, you were doing this just out of spite. You were doing this out of spite, you fucking liar. You piece of shit.
I think the only first party game that's actually better is Mario 64. Wait, did GameCube even have a Mario Kart game? It didn't.
No,
right?
it did. It had Double Dash.
Oh, see, I didn't even know about that. So,
point for me. Double
Dash. What about the party games? As long as there was a party game on the GameCube, it was better.
GameCube. Jesus fucking Christ.
It was better.
It was not better.
Because here's the deal. Mario Party games, just like all those other games,
it is the quality of the party games in them.
I may be fucking around with Ocarina of Time, but what I'm serious about party games, they progressively get better. Just like the Mario Kart games. Just like the Smash Brothers games. The newest system will have a better version. You might have preferences for how you play them. And granted, like, I don't know, 2 other friends of mine when we were growing up even had a GameCube. So not a lot of people even had it to play party games, but everyone had an N64. And I get that. And once again, it's tough because I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. But
you are stretching.
If I'm giving anything to the N64...
Right, you're like a guy with foreskin in the paint can right now. That's how much you're stretching right now.
Here's the deal. You take out Mario 64, which is clearly... Okay, best Mario game. Fine. I'll still say Luigi's Mansion was better. But you take out...
Well, you have direct comparisons. You have Mario versus Mario Sunshine.
Which I know nothing about Mario Sunshine, so I can't compare. Mario Kart 64 versus, what was it, Double Dash?
Double Dash.
I'm sure Double Dash was better, but nobody played it. So everyone's going to say 64 because that was the thing. Obviously Ocarina of Time was worse than whatever was on the GameCube.
Wind Waker and Twilight.
Because you
had Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask first, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, which was really more.
Yeah, Twilight Princess was really way better. Yeah, no, actually, no. There you go. Because we felt the need, just like Wii U is technically the one that has Breath of Wild, but nobody considers that. Right. Yeah, Twilight Princess is better than both those fucking titles. The only thing that N64 really had was better wrestling games. You really boil it down. GoldenEye aged like shit. Nightfire aged much better. And it came out for all consoles, but it wasn't exclusive. So there you go. So, the N64, just in general, you put that music next to the GameCube, it ain't going to hold up. Graphically, it sure as shit ain't going to hold up. And Resident Evil Remake, and I'm dropping the mic on that.
You mean the game that got ported everywhere? That was only an exclusive for a little bit because of the deal with Capcom, which Capcom went, fuck the GameCube. We're going to put it on other games because we actually want it to sell.
Well, Resident Evil Remake didn't come out till Xbox One.
No, it came out on...
Well, no, wait, PS2. I'm sorry, 360.
Resident Evil Remake was on the PS2.
No,
oh, no.
It wasn't.
Oh, no, the remake wasn't, but Resident Evil 4 was, which is the one that people... Which is the big one.
I don't give two shits about 4. I'm talking about the remake, Jim. So, there you go. GameCube's better. So I think we close that out pretty nicely.
Just as good with the N64. You have Resident Evil 2. We have a great version of Resident Evil 2 on the N64.
That was such a bullshit. Oh my god. That would have tanked. Thank God that didn't first come out on N64. That would have tanked the whole Resident Evil series. Oh, that piece of shit. But
okay, so you're going to say you're going to play Mario Sunshine over 64. You're going to play Double Dash over Mario 64.
Oh, wait. Also, let's not forget, GameCube actually had good fighting games on it, and it had a better Metroid game.
Actually, N64 didn't have any Metroid games.
Oh, looks like I won that one. Boom, motherfucker.
Well, it just replaced it. You had Metroid on the GameCube. You had GoldenEye and Perfect Dark on the N64. Those are your flagship first-person shooters on there. Yeah,
they aged terribly, and Nightfire was better. So
I'm going to say that's a wash between those two games right there.
Yeah, so GoldenEye and Nightfire washed each other. So then you just left with Metroid.
Star Fox 64, way better than either Adventures or Assault.
Yeah, but Star Fox 64 is such a simp
game. The party games you brought up, everyone loves 1 through 3 way more than 4, 5, and 6. No one cares about them. And I think 7. I think you actually had more games on the GameCube.
Smash Brothers Melee.
Yes, Melee is better than the first one. The first one was basically a
Melee. Godzilla.
That was on everything. That doesn't count.
Need for Speed.
That was on everything. That doesn't count.
It does count, because it wasn't on the N64, was it, motherfucker? We're only talking about the N64 and the GameCube, aren't we?
Right, fine.
We knew N64 was the worst port of anything between that and the PlayStation.
Your argument every single goddamn time.
Oh, wait,
no. Here, motherfucker.
Wait. Let me back it up. Let me back it up. I'm gonna back up one thing. This was one of the few... Actually, it's not backing up. It's repeating what I said. N64 was notorious for having the worst adaptations of other third-party games compared to the PS1, whereas GameCube, their ports could actually hold up to other systems. Not saying they were always the best, but they could be a little bit more competitive.
PS2 was actually
N64,
the weakest of that generation.
The N64 fuck things up all the time, as we saw. So, I think I win that one. Even though I'm just playing devil's advocate, I think I win this one, Jim.
Piece of shit. Goddamn godless liar.
And you know what? Fuck you, because the N64 didn't have a handle you could carry it with. Boom. Boom. And let's not even... Do you even want me to pull it out and put it on the table that the controller is way better for the fucking GameCube? Because that's obvious. Because people still want the game... people still want a GameCube controller to compete with goddamn Super Smash Brothers, and no one's begging for the goddamn dick controller of the N64 unless your name is
the
Blub
only
Blub.
argument the GameCube has is Smash and and the controller. I'll give them that.
And Resident Evil and Twilight Princess and Metroid and controller and graphics and sound.
You can't say
But yeah,
controller sound
everything
because it
else,
was
you're
like a
right.
console. That isn't a fair argument.
Exactly. That's my point. That's like if you were like, well, let's compare the Ford Model T to a 64 Mustang.
Actually, fuck you, motherfucker.
I'm going to bring up the
3D
fact
engine on
that
the
one
N64
goes better.
Is more impressive than the PS1s. It was just harder to
No,
program for
it's
because
not.
of that stupid
No,
cartridges.
it's
Yes, it is.
not.
Look it up.
No,
Look it up.
it's
Be a
not.
fucking tech dork.
Wait, why did N64 lose the PS1?
Because it
Because everyone was
used
depressed?
cartridges.
Because shit
it
looked
used
better.
cartridges. That's why it lost.
Because shit looked better. Listen, Jim, as I know you're someone who doesn't appreciate music, music in games is important. And shit sounded better on the GameCube. Shit looked better on the GameCube. Shit played better on the GameCube. Yeah, they had stupid small CDs, but guess what? That's how times go, Jim.
Look, Rye, just because the TurboGrafx is better than the NES doesn't make it a better system. All right?
You're
Comes
right.
down to
It
the
doesn't.
games. The N64 just
But
has
we're
a
not
better
talking
hardware
about.
overall.
Now, listen. If you want to do TurboGrafx versus N64, I'd be happy to school you in that conversation too. But right now, we're talking N64 or GameCube, and I've already won because I had to play devil's advocate. Because
Make that a segment. We'll see what the peanut gallery says.
I think there's no chance that anyone agrees with me on this one,
Yeah,
Jim.
probably not.
Considering what our Twitter is, the fact that I said Ocarina of Time is overrated, which I'm not joking about.
Actually, a lot of people that's actually twisted. Like if it
Oh, he plays a flute.
if it was like 2014 when like Watch Mojo was still playing that #1 game of all time, then maybe. But the tides have turned on Ocarina a lot.
No, it's overrated.
I mean, actually, that's a divide right there. 2D versus 3D Zelda. There's a which is better. Whew.
Ooh.
I'm gonna have to put that in for the
But-
next episode. I'm gonna do that right now.
You guys let us know below what you think, which is better. Yeah, and with that, guys, thank you for watching. We really
Right, talk about
appreciate
your
it.
goddamn beers.
Oh, Jim, I got to pee so bad. So I finished I've already talked enough about Dunkel Sean, and actually I moved on to the Roque Brewing Company's French Toast Oatmeal Stout. This thing is goddamn delicious. I just did the beer battle about it, but I've already went through 2 of them, and yeah, I got to piss like a racehorse. So, Jim, what do you got?
Real quick, the Viva IPA. It's okay. It's an IPA. That's all I got. 5.2%.
Thank you.
So, you can't even hang your hat on the alcohol. It's very drinkable. It's smooth. If you want an IPA that won't, kill people who don't like IPAs, this is a good beginner one. I'll say that.
Nice. All right, guys. So with that, thank you all for following us. Thank you for watching. And until next time, cheers.